Hello, welcome and good evening. For a quick intermission video, I wanted to show you a book, because we're doing here retro stuff, playing games, soldering things, and the like. There's a nice book since last year by the Nostalgia Nerd. He's a YouTuber, and it's about retro tech. Basically, it's about, all kinds of home computers and consoles from the 70s up to, well, sort of like the Xbox generation, maybe 10 years ago or so. So, the Nostalgia Nerd, in real life, Leigh, he makes very nice videos about all kinds of retro stuff, most like documentaries. His channel is definitely worth watching. I will link to it in the description. I'm not sure if I can link to it in the video. If so, I will try. And yeah, as you can see, it's quite hefty. It's a nice hardcover book, and it covers a lot of things. The cover is very nicely designed, I think, with the 8-bit graphics. I like that style. Incidentally, I made a little book for my kids in the same style. It's easy enough to draw and it looks nice. It looks so retro. Love it, definitely. So Peter describes this book as a very nice doorstop, but I think it's actually much more useful. And as you can see, it covers a ton of things. It's more in breadth than in depth, because every system gets only a couple of pages. It starts off with the very early things. Here, for example, is the Magnavox Odyssey, arguably the first console, more or less. And he always shows the must-see games, the must-play games, and the must-avoid games. That's it. And of course, he also says what was the base price of the machine back in the days, $100 for the Magnavox. What could it do? What was the history? On 2 pages and lots of nice colorful pictures. For example, let's check out a bit of the later systems. The ZX80. Let's skip a few. Maybe we find the VIC-20. Yeah, here's something more modern. The VIC-20 with some games. But most important of all, let's try to find the C64, because I guess that's what most of you guys will in some form be familiar with, either because you had it yourself or you know it from the emulation scene stuff. So yeah, you can see it was released back in January 82, just 64 kilobytes of RAM, makes sense, and has a MOS 6510 CPU and cost $600 back in the day. What is, in his opinion, the must-see game? Mayman Monsterland from 1993. That was basically when the C64 was already dead, and Commodore as well. But it was one of the last games released when the platform was still pretty active, and it's really awesome. You should definitely check it out. Must play, impossible mission. Yeah, another visitor. Stay a while, stay forever. I think most people will also know this game. Must avoid Chuck Norris Super Kicks. Never heard of it. I also only had one C64 for a short time during my studies. Picked it up on a flea market. Gave it away to a friend later. So I'm not that in love with the machine per se, but yeah, I like it. So the machines are ordered in chronological order. The later parts of the book have more modern machines. Here's the Sam Coupe, which is kind of interesting because it uses the same sound chip as the Creative Music System, the Game Blaster card, which we built in a previous video. So that used the a.k.a. 1099 chip. And as you can see, Lemmings, for example, was ported to the machine, as it was for so many other machines. Or here, the Super NES, or Super Famicom in Japan, I guess. And lo and behold, it had even Doom. Take a look at this. That's actually pretty amazing. So you can see the print quality is pretty decent, although I think the screenshots could have been larger, but overall I like the design. So there's really a ton of information. Look at this, CD32. Maybe we can find the here's the Mega CD. Maybe you can find the Genesis, because I also have the Genesis. Should be, is it before the Super Nintendo? Who knows? Yeah, I think this should be it. The Mega Drive or Genesis. Look at this with a nice motherboard. Motorola 68000, color 61 out of 512. And 72 kilobytes of RAM, yeah, that's crazy. I think 64 were for the Motorola and 8 kilobytes for the Z80 for Master System compatibility. That's actually very crazy what they did with this machine. Toy Story, I don't have that. It looks very nice. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, as I said, it is very covering like almost all the consoles. It doesn't cover handhelds and PCs because that's a whole different story, right? So he says a little bit about that, but only on a few pages. All in all, I would definitely recommend this book. Its list price is $20 or £15, but you can have it for less, I think, on Amazon or your favorite bookshop. You have to check it out. It's the Nostalgia Nerds Retro Tech Computers, Consoles and Games, and I'll bet he will follow up with a different book on maybe handhelds or other stuff, so keep an eye out on his channel. And other than that, please share, like, and most important of all, subscribe. We're already at 119 subscribers. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love it. See you next time.